Tuesday, 21st of October, 2025. Good morning, and thanks for tuning in to FlowFM 92.7 and for joining us on the analysis this morning. The Headline News Analysis is a platform we created for you to be able to debate and analyze some of the news stories that were brought to you at 7 or anyone you see in the national dailies you'd like to talk about. We have our in-house analyst with us here this morning, as per usual. Good morning to you, Nicholas. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm fine.
Generally, how was your trip down here as well?
Well, uneventful, thankfully.
All right, then. We have a couple of rules on the program, as per usual. Please, we do not give in to any logical fallacies, and also any news stories you'd like to bring on the program, let's make sure it's from verifiable sources. And also, you have a space of 1 minute to make your comments, so as to allow other people make their comments as well. You can call on 0807 777 9927. Again, 0807 777 9927. You can call in or you can send a message on that number as well. Let's get into the stories. But before that, the views to be expressed is not in any way the position of FlowFM 92.7 or the staff therein, but as expressed by our in-house analyst, Nicholas Uwerunonye. We're also streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook at FlowFM 927. So if you'd like to see what's going on in the studio live, you can definitely get on any of these apps and get in on the live action happening. Let's get into the stories. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has recovered over 500 billion naira and secured more than 7,000 convictions in the first 2 years of President Bola Tinubu's administration, as the recovered funds have been redirected into the economy to support critical social programs, including the student loan and consumer credit schemes. What's your reaction to that? What do you think about the situation?
Well, it leaves one question to be asked, and one is what was the cost of putting those people behind bars? How much did it cost them in terms of man hours, in terms of resources put into it? Vis-a-vis the 500 billion, right? And then secondly, at the end of the day, we don't have a case of where people with financial malfeasances have been released by presidential pardon. So what does it say? So that was the point we were making yesterday. Now, you recall this amount of money that that was pumped into the economy, but you haven't explained what it cost EFCC to make those prosecutions and get those convictions, because they have to spend money. They have to go on, sting operations. Sting operations cost money. You have to, you have to fuel cars. You have to even use money as bait sometimes. So it is not good enough. That is for me. Because you see, in developed economies like the US, UK, and the rest of them, you see, when they celebrate success, they tell you the cost implication of getting that success in crime fighting, what it costs the country, to get one single conviction. Then they now look at the benefits at the long term. Okay, is it effective enough to serve as deterrent? You understand? In this instance, the case of deterrent does not even begin. That has been wiped out by this presidential pardon thing. It's what it simply means is that all a criminal has to do is to be well connected politically to influence a presidential pardon, or even governorship, pardon. So that is, in as much as I welcome that development, where the money, because definitely when you get all this fifth lucre, from crime enterprise, you plow them back into the economy, which is a salutary thing. I like that. But again, the cost implication is what I'm talking about. We need to know it. We need to have all the facts.
How it happened.
What it cost us to do that,
Okay. Do you think that the presidential, because we had yesterday Eze talking about how they should scrap EFC. Do you think that kind of would deter EFC hearing something like that and seeing
of course it's going to it's a kind of disincentive. It's disincentivizing, the agents, or crime fighters. When, for instance, let us even assume, for instance, as an operative of either ICPC or EFCC, whichever one convicted this other lawmaker, I've forgotten the name of that guy, from Kano, who was caught taking bribe from a high personality, extorting, a prominent personality like Tedola. I don't know whether a lot of people remember that it was $10 he was
trying to extort.
And a sting operation was put in place. They actually gave him money. They gave him money to give to that lawmaker, and he was caught red-handed. That is the enormity. You see, in countries where they know what they are doing, they don't let go of people like that. They use them as an example to show that no matter how big you are in a society, the law can take you down. Now, one of the few instances, extremely few instances of successfully putting a big bad guy in jail was let loose by a reckless presidential pardon, in my opinion. So that is what we're saying. It would, if I were one of the operatives that took part in that sting operation, I'll feel like throwing in the towel. It's not worth it anymore.
Right. But the money that they're plowing back into the economy for the student loan and consumer credit schemes.
Yeah, that is salutary. That is salutary.
It's salutary.
Yeah.
The student
They should
loans,
do more of that, as a matter of fact.
Okay, to help the community.
Yeah.
0807-777-9927 is the number to call to be part of the conversation. Let's move to another news story real quick. The Nigeria Labour Congress has given the federal government a 4-week ultimatum to conclude negotiations with all academic and non-academic unions in higher education institutions amid the ongoing disruptions to the academic calendar. Apparently, the academic calendar is in...
Yeah.
As
it so happens, fortuitously, I was at the University of Ilorin convocation yesterday. We have a call?
No. Please go ahead.
Okay. Fortuitously, like I said, I was at the convocation ceremony, press briefing yesterday at the University of Ilorin, where we were addressed by the primus inter pares of, the academic citadel, Professor Egbewole, a lawyer, and the VC, the Vice Chancellor. And we were talking about issues like this, issues that brought about that strike. Okay, we have a call.
Yeah, we do have a call.
Okay, let's.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. What is your name and where are you calling from,
yes,
please?
how are you today?
What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Kola.
Kola.
From GRA.
Okay,
Kola
from GRA.
All right, Kola. Good morning to you. Please go ahead with your comments.
Yeah, going forward with your discussion this morning. I want to appreciate you guys, more especially what you are talking about. You see, this recovery that made is not the first of its kind. We tried about so many of such recoveries. But what was the implication, the financial implication, the economic implication of this recovery being plowed back into the economy? It doesn't translate to any meaningful thing. I've never seen that. It's not been justified. All I care. It has been justified. I think that should put a limit to the length of at which the government borrows money externally. 500 billion is enough for what you call a budget for another country. So if they could make this such and plow back to the economy, so that there's no justification for federal government to keep borrowing back and forth. It's not justified. Let's call it the state. Many a times you see them federal revenue are generated to trillion revenue, custom service of Nigeria has generated this huge amount of money. What will tell me what's justification? What does that translate? It's very unfortunate. People don't do it honestly.
All right.
If we may just from that news report, what the president is saying is that part of that 500 billion was sent to NEL fund. And yesterday, like I was saying earlier, the University of Ilorin said about 12,000 or 11,000 students benefited from NEL fund. So some of those, we are talking of those proceeds from crime, were used to fund university education in Ilorin. So it must have found its way there. Then, of course, the social intervention, all these conditional transfers that were given to vulnerable families. Is it 25,000 naira? Yeah, they give you first 3 months, you get 75,000 naira, then 25,000 naira every month. So those monies, but I think, we can relate to it because we are information managers. And this is one other deficit, on the side of government. I think that money such as that should be transparently explained.
of how it was spent.
Exactly. At what point did you give that money, and through which agency did you give that money? The agency that collected this should own up and say, yes, we got this amount of money. This is where we are putting the money, and things like that. So people who get the money, at the end of it, like when we hear, for instance, that Nelfund has given 12,000 candidates from University of Ilorin, so amount of money. Of course, we know where the money is coming from. You understand? So you see, information it should be a continuum. It shouldn't be haphazard, and that is what the federal government is suffering from right now. So can we go back to
please go ahead.
We can go back to what we were talking about. Like I said, I was at the university where the vice chancellor explained that federal government will have to continue to talk to us soon. And one of the plank where he made an argument was that he explained that TED Fund in this last year gave University of Ilorin about 2 billion naira. That appears to be a very big amount of money to the Nigerian university, right? But it's just like a drop in an ocean of needs. So because at the end of it, he was asked, what percentage is that to what you actually need budgetarily speaking, and he said, look, at the outset of the year, we said for this year, University of Ilorin alone needs 35 billion naira to run the university, and TED Fund made available 2 billion. So you can imagine. So it's nothing. So they were able to turn out impressive results, but there were challenges, especially in funding universities. So that is why NLC, I absolutely agree with them that, given that ultimatum to federal government, 4 weeks, they should really sit down. Federal government should really sit down and, eat that frog. There is a book, Eat That Frog. Those decisions you don't want to take, it's like a frog. You don't want to eat it. You understand? So they must sit down and eat that frog and look at that is the ugly situation within the universities. They have to face it. It's as simple as that. They have to deal with it squarely so that we can move on. Because if we don't do that, we'll be chasing our tail. If all of us, the country will be chasing its tail, just going around in a circle, achieving nothing,
So, but, it's not just one university. There's so many federal universities that would need funding like this.
It's a similar situation. It's similar. All right.
All right. Well, 0807 777 9927. Again, 0807 777 9927 is the number to call or to text to be a part of the conversation this morning. Let's move to another news story.
Mm-hmm.
The Nigeria Police Force has deployed tear gas to disperse protesters calling for the release of IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu in Abuja as demonstrations took place across the Federal Capital Territory. We talked about this yesterday for a little bit. They were trying to move them away from sensitive areas such as the Presidential Villa, the National Assembly, and the Court of Appeal. Now, the authorities said that the dispersal was necessary to enforce legal restrictions on protests in sensitive areas and to ensure free movement for other residents, as the crackdown has drawn criticism from human rights organizations that describe the action as an attempt to suppress peaceful protests. The group called on Nigerian authorities to respect citizens' rights to assemble peacefully and address their grievances in accordance with the Constitution and international human rights treaties. Which is very,
we can never tire. From my point of view, I can never tire, of insisting that protest is a right of any sentient person. Anybody. The right to protest. If you beat a child and say the child should not cry, it's like it's a cruel and unusual punishment. You understand? Like that crying is an act of protest, So if your citizens feel aggrieved, they have a right to protest. They have a right to assemble and air their view. Yesterday, I was talking about Ghana, where the equivalent of their own Aso Rock is situated near the road. And that is where they gather. They have a space where they gather to protest so that the president can see them and hear their agitation. That is Africa, West Africa here. And like we are saying yesterday, we have the same Ghana and Nigeria are like Siamese twins during the colonial, post-colonial, the colonial colonial activism, and post-colonial. We share similar historical trajectory.
Okay. Sorry, Sibachi. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Danielle.
Yeah,
good morning to you, Toy.
Good morning, Nicholas.
Good morning. Good morning.
And good morning to Danielle in absentia.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Let him know. Good morning to you. Please go ahead with your comment.
On the issue of protest, I still don't understand why people in government don't want people to protest. Especially this present government. We saw them leading several protests. These are the people that call themselves the proponents of democracy. For God's sake, what when you imagine and you cannot even practice what you preach? It is totally uncalled for. I was just going through Facebook this morning and I saw the video of the lone protester in Lagos. And you cannot imagine the kind of things this guy was saying he experienced. The policeman looked at him and said, "So you be Igbo. I am protesting in Lagos." You can see the kind of things we are promoting. We are seeing on several kegs of gunpowder. I'm sorry to say, the country is going to explode one day, and when it does, it will be the fault of these people we call our leader. For God's sake, what is wrong with people? They have the right to protest. Let them protest in peace. Hear them out. Is there anything attached to this protest? I still don't understand. Have a good morning.
You see, and it's quite unfortunate that the issue of Nnamdi Kanu was a self-inflicted injury. And the unfortunate thing is that those people who support government of the day refuse to look at the history. They tend to want to be politically correct. You see, I'm going to say this, and it might be very unpopular. You see, it is increasingly very difficult to be an Igbo man in Nigeria. A lot of people don't know. You need to be one to understand what it really means. And you don't even need to be an Igbo man. You need to come from that part that is considered Igbo. You understand? Anything from Ore. That is the perception of a lot of people. You'll be shocked, even educated people.
Ore.
After anything after Ore, it's considered Igbo. You understand? So you heard what the caller said. A policeman said, "Oh, so you are because he's protesting," not minding whether the guy is Igbo or not. Yes, I see the issue of Nnamdi Kanu is not about being Igbo or anything. Nigeria is a signatory to the right to self-determination. It's well enshrined. In fact, and there have been a lot of court cases from ECOWAS to High Court to Appeal Court that shows that has ruled that the guy should be free. For me, I believe that even arresting him in the first place was a very big mistake. It was a gross miscalculation. We said it then, but it's bearing fruit now. Now, because there are better ways of stemming him. Okay.
Sorry to butt you again. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. What is your name and where are you calling from, please?
Okay, this is Michael from Ilorin.
Okay. Michael, please go ahead. Good morning, Michael. Go ahead.
Okay, so on the issue of corrupt proceed and probably challenging to the right place. I understand the sentiment that yes, we are not supposed to. While retrieving all this money, government is not supposed to be busy borrowing more money. But we should remember that the government has a budget, and within the budget, there's an amount that has been designated as deficit. So it's just that a budget is an estimate. So as incomes are coming in, you are looking for where to channel it and to make it more transparent. Hence the reason why probably government agency needs to speak up when a particular proceed is going to a particular agency. So I'm going to the protest in Abuja. I'm for protest. I'm 100% for protest. But what I'm against is anything that will hinder my own movement. For example, I have a neighbor. He has the right to play music. But the moment that music begins to disturb my own sleep, it has gone, you've gone out of order. So I think people that suffered along Maraba and the rest is uncalled for. We can have a protest, government can behave themselves, the police can behave themselves, and other people can go to their normal business.
not holding everybody and caging everybody because there's protest and police cannot manage it. I think we just need to think ahead and make this more better. Thank you.
All right, Michael. Thank you for your comment. I mean,
I think just one more point. You see, when people say they want to protest, what the police should do is to organize them in a manner, because they have that right. The right is absolute, enshrined in the Constitution. But you see, where the problem usually arises, they try to stop them, and that is where the issue goes. So to now blame the protesters for stopping people from going about their, I
thought they were given like a particular area to stay to protest and not to approach sensitive areas, and also not to block traffic.
What is sensitive? What is sensitive areas?
Well, they mentioned the National Assembly, Presidential Villa, places like that. Those
people are put there by the same people who want to protest. They want to take their grievances to them. You understand? So look, you see, you know why it appears as if I'm kind of different here? It's because that is professionally speaking, I started my practice in 2001 in Lagos. The same people who are there right now were in the opposition. Look, I can imagine what they would have done if an Nnamdi Kanu case happened at that time. I know what would have happened in Lagos. I'm saying this openly, and people can come out and challenge him, and I'll give them reasons. I'll go and bring magazines from the news that I worked in. You know, the man who is the MD of the news now is the spokesman of the president. You understand? So, you see, it's this contradiction that we are talking about. We can't have this contradiction all the time. We can't be having all these flip-flops.
All right. Hold on. Let's take another call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Danielle.
Hello, good morning to you.
It's Tony once again.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, on a quick one. I listened to the last caller. You see, at times I don't know why we get agitated when people are protesting and they say, okay, probably they're blocking the road. But then, it's not the work of the protesters. It is leadership. You see, when policemen conduct themselves very well, you will take control of the protest without even the protesters even knowing. They are succumbed the leadership of the protest to the police. It is about leadership. I witnessed this firsthand, at a very early age. I was in secondary school. One of our prefects got knocked down by a vehicle, and he eventually died at the hospital. So all students, we came out in protest. We blocked the road. I was in GSS Ilorin. So that major road then, that Maraba road, we blocked the road, and for God's sake, our principal, late Kamaldeen, may his soul rest in peace, he came out and showed leadership. It was just a command. Not that he called on the police to disperse us. He came out and he said, my students, he spoke to us, and we all went back into the school. It is leadership. It is leadership. When the police are there at the protest ground, and they show compact, but then they always get these directives from above. Disperse them. Treat them anyhow. That is the kind of signal they get. And that is why protests go howdy. We still remember 2010, 20, and the lives that were lost at then. But the country is still in denial. So what kind of you trigger the people when you don't act well? That's the sincere truth.
A very good example. Thank you. Thanks. That's Tony. Yeah. A very good example was the last protest organized by Showore on this police pension and the rest of them. Can you imagine how organized it was? They even protested to the police headquarters, and they gave them a cordon right out, outside, where they gave them space where they can agitate. The IGP came out and addressed them. So why didn't that go all right? Because the issue involved here is politically charged. That is all. You understand? Because I recall that even while the current president, under Muhammadu Buhari, when he was asked, I still have that police, that comment he made, that if he were the president, he would talk to Nnamdi Kanu. So why is he not doing that now?
Okay. Let's take another call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. What is your name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is Shitta. I'm calling from Sango.
Shitta from Sango. Please go ahead with your comment.
My own comment on Showore's protest for Nnamdi Kanu.
You see, protests supposed to be allowed by law. But in most cases, in this country, I can say a lot of us are kind of hypocritic, because when we want to talk about happiness, we quickly pick America and some other part of the world, that if people come out, that this is what they are protesting for, it is true. You believe that is what they are protesting for. It's roughly a year now that people gather that they want to protest for hardship in Nigeria. People are not talking about that. Number of young officers they kill in Kano and many other places, that people are carrying the flag of Russia. And if you look at yesterday's protest, it is linked to the NSAS protest because they are talking about it. Look at what Nigeria goes through. Some people are not out of it now. Shoprite is no longer in Ilorin and many other places are that loot. So I'm not in support of police, attacking people for the protest, but it is food for thought. You see, when it is easy for us to come on air and talk, but everybody know within his conscience what each and every of us is doing in this country. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
That's another interesting perspective. But again, for me, I don't see anything wrong with the NSAS protest. As a matter of fact, there were lots of reforms that were carried out from that.
Exactly 5 years.
So let us not forget the goods, the good things that we got from, because the police took time to introspect at some of the excesses that happened. Today, we don't have SARS anymore. You understand? So that is a good point that came out of that place. Even policemen came out to say, look, it's not as if we are doing all this. So look at this is what we are going through.
Look at what it cost Nigerians.
Look at what it cost Nigerians. Yeah, but what it cost Nigerian has absolutely nothing to do with the people who protested. It was because there were deliberate efforts to hijack that protest. And that has always been the case. You have the case of ASU. You get and create a Kokonwa to as a counter force. You have the case of people who are protesting. You go and organize a counter protest. You see, the thing is that, like I keep on telling a lot of people, you see, when it appears as if that certain things are unpopular, try and put yourself in that person's position. How is he seeing things? It's the moment it's called empathy. The moment you are able to do that, then you'll be able to come up with a measured response. The thing is always with Nigerians mostly is that the moment something is happening to the shoe is on the other leg, we tend to completely dissociate desensitize ourselves from how that person is feeling. That is the point. See, the moment we remember that there are, at some point, these same people who are pushing hard against the protesters were once in the vanguard of pro-democracy and activism and protests. You understand? It will be so difficult to understand what we are saying. We are not speaking German here.
All right, looks like we still have a lot of calls coming through, but our time is fast spent and we're not going to be able to take any more comments or any more calls, but we can move the conversation to tomorrow as well. Yeah. We can pick it up from, where we're leaving it off today, tomorrow, from 8 o'clock to 8:30 on the analysis. Thank you for calling and for texting. Your closing thoughts for today?
You see, we must equally understand too that Nigeria belongs to all of us. We want a country where, everybody matters. That is all.
It doesn't feel like it, but it does belong to us.
It does belong to us. Everybody matters, please.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing from your wealth of knowledge today as well. The views expressed is not in any way the position of FlowFM 92.7 of the staff therein, but is expressed by our in-house analyst, Nicholas Uwerunonye. We'll be back to your ears tomorrow, God willing, from 8 o'clock to 8:30. I'm Danielle Shitta-Bey. Have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday.